Welcome to TSAM. My name is Anna, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Mahesh Narayan, the SVP for segment head for institutional asset managers at Arcesium today. Welcome, Mahesh.
Thank you, Anna. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being with us. So Mahesh, today I wanted to talk to you about a few things. And first off, I was really keen to ask you, what are the key challenges facing buy-side firms in terms of operations, data, and technology?
Sure, I can certainly jump into that. Let me start off with a brief introduction about Arcesium, what we do for some of the folks who may not know us. We are a SaaS platform firm. We provide a full integrated cloud-native SaaS platform for asset managers, asset owners, private equity firms, hedge funds, and so on for post-trade operations. We used to be part of a large hedge fund called D.E. Shaw, spun out 10 years ago as a separate company. We're not a small company anymore. We are actually over 2,000 people in headcount, providing a full SaaS platform and managed services around it, right? So we have a number of large hedge funds, asset managers, and asset owners who use the platform. To your question, what are the challenges that asset managers and asset owners and others face in the market today? And I think you broke it up into the buckets of operations, data, and technology, right? I like to frame. And each of these are essentially challenges that reflect the challenges for the business overall, right? And that's why they sort of filter down to operations, data, and tech. In operations, I think there are three areas that asset managers and asset owners are really focused on, right? The number one is the growth in the number of asset classes that they need to support, right? And you're seeing that as more asset managers move into, let's call it non-traditional asset classes, right? Private equity, private debt, infrastructure, real estate, and so on, right? And of course, every asset manager wants to now include those asset classes in terms of their product portfolio, right? But it comes with operational challenges, like how do you support these asset classes in your sort of your portfolios and your workflows, right? So that's the number one area that we see asset managers focused on. The number two is look, even the traditional asset managers now going to market with a more complex set of products. We're talking financial products here, right? And with complex products, the operational needs grow, right? In terms of how do you manage these complex products, the structuring of them, the operational side of it, right? So that's the second area. And the last bit is, look, asset managers have grown via acquisition. There's a lot of consolidation happening in the industry. And there's also business model changes that are happening in the industry, right? Specifically, the move to managed services, right? And we speak to asset managers all the time. And as these business models change and the adoption of managed services across the organization changes, that brings in new operational challenges, right? How do you make that transition? How do you do it well, right? And that's where we help. Now, moving on to the data front, right? Again, I break down the data challenges into three parts, right? The first one is that when you have all these new asset classes that you need to support, the data needs change, right? Each of these new asset classes need not just new data, but there's sort of sources of data, right? Whether it's the market data firms, the portfolio analytics firms, maybe, or maybe even sort of the fund admins and so on, right? So the data needs change. The second area is just the growth in data, right? And we're all aware of it, right? There's sort of a secular growth in data sets that asset managers need. A few years ago, it was about ESG data. Now there may be sort of other data sets they want to bring in. So the data needs are growing rapidly. There doesn't seem any end in sight. And so the question is, like, how do you manage to organize your data and sort of build out your data strategy to reflect this ongoing growth in data, right? And the last bit is, look, the impact of AI, right? Just about every data and tech team within the asset management industry is thinking about, like, how should I think about how AI will seep into sort of the workflows of the asset management organization they're working for, and what do they need to do from the data side to support this, right? So all of these things are sort of the key sort of challenges of the data side. And I think I touched on some of these on the tech side also, but there's a couple of other aspects of tech where you see CTOs and even the CEOs of the asset management firms focused on, right? Number one is, look, there's still a lot of legacy platforms and internally built platforms that asset managers have. And slowly but steadily, asset managers are focused on migrating these legacy platforms to, let's call it, modern platforms, right? So that's an area of focus. And then the move to the cloud, right? Which sort of ties in somewhat to migrating from legacy to modern, right? But the move to the cloud, whether it's public or private or some form of hybrid model, is an area of focus. And then lastly, AI, right? The AI aspect is having a big impact across operations, data, and tech, right? So, we constantly have conversations with asset managers these days where AI comes up, like what do you do? How can your platforms help us sort of embed AI capabilities into our workflows? So um, there's so much happening. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the industry. It's an exciting time to see these new asset classes and new financial products sort of drive sort of innovation in the industry. But there's also a lot of challenges, right? And we as a vendor think we have a very important role to help sort of asset managers work through these challenges.
Oh, that's really interesting. So obviously it sounds like buy-side firms have to navigate a very complex landscape. So how does your firm help them overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so we help in, again, I'd say three ways. As I mentioned, we are a SaaS platform provider for post-trade operations, right? So I think our platform was built keeping in mind these challenges, right? These operational challenges, data challenges, right? So in some ways, we've sort of embedded some of these capabilities in our platform, right? In terms of how we can support these challenges. So the first thing we offer is what we call an operational SaaS platform for post-trade operations, right? Everything post-trade, including your investment book of records, the accounting book of records, reconciliation, some reporting, obviously a full, what we call a financial data stack, including a security master, managing a corporate action, and so on, right? And the operational data platform, again, I would highlight, is one platform that supports both public and private asset classes, right? You'll see a lot of vendors in the industry who support public assets or private assets, but we distinguish ourselves in having a platform that supports both, right? Which is important because, like I said, that seems to be the primary challenge for asset management these days, right? The second way we support firms is we offer a cloud-native data platform. It's a very modern data platform which helps address all the data and the tech challenges that I mentioned earlier, right? That's our we believe like our Aquata data platform is sort of best of breed and we see a number of asset managers and asset owners using our platform to essentially build out their data strategy, right? So that's the second area how we help. And the third bit is managed services, right? I mentioned the move to managed services within the industry, and we, thanks to our offices in India and many of the locations there, we are able to support a fairly extensive set of managed services capabilities across our platform, right? And I think that again distinguishes us from some of the smaller vendors who may not be able to do that.
And how does your platform leverage AI and GenAI?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We could talk about talk about it for hours, right? And that's honestly the sort of the hottest topic in many of our client calls. I would again break AI down into traditional AI and Gen AI, right? Our platforms have always included or embedded traditional AI capabilities into to our across our capabilities, right? I talked about a security master, or a reconciliation engine, or IBOR, ABOR. So we've always had AI ML embedded in areas such as data ingest, right? Data quality rules, the ability to connect data sets easily and more effectively, right? So those aspects of AI ML have been in our platform for I would say several years now, right? Gen AI is new, right? Like we did launch our Copilot towards the later half of last year. It's a Copilot that sits on top of a platform. And it does a number of things, right? It's live. We have a number of clients using it. Our Copilot, again, is built on a number of sort of open source capabilities. We see our clients using our Copilot for a number of areas. One is just understanding the platform, and you could call it training, right? Asking the Copilot like, hey, if I want to do this, how do I do it? And the Copilot gives you an answer, right? Helping understand the schemas and the data tables and some of the workflows in the platform itself. Second is, look, the Copilot is also helping you build stuff, right? I talked about data quality rules. I talked about data pipelines, right? Our Copilot is actually really helping. We've started out by text to SQL generation, right? Many of our clients and the operational teams use SQL to bring out data sets from within a platform for their internal needs, or just building out queries, which are then used in our platform for reporting needs, right? So our GenAI Copilot base is now fully live in terms of converting text to SQL, right? It's a huge productivity improvement for the operational teams. And then lastly, look, we are going to be sort of enhancing. We have a roadmap for our Copilot in terms of it help automating the building of pipelines, automating some reporting, right? So there's a lot of things underway, especially on the Gen AI front. And what's one thing I would highlight is, look, Gen AI is sort of is going to be critical for driving sort of productivity within our client teams.
Absolutely. So, of course, I wanted to ask you, Mahesh, how should asset managers engage with Arcesium for any specific needs they might have?
Yeah, look, I mean, we are at TSAM, so please stop by our booth. We'll have our teams there. We'll be showing you our platform. The people who are joining the TSAM session in London are experts at what they do, so they'll be able to speak to just about everything that I mentioned over the call in terms of client challenges. We'll be able to share stories about case studies about how we're helping clients on a number of these use cases. So I think the best way is please stop by a booth, speak to our teams, try and have them sort of show you some of our capabilities. Outside of that, please call us, right? And like I highlighted, we are if fairly we serve asset managers to help solve some of their complex needs, right? So we'd love to hear your business challenges. We'd love to hear how we could help you. We are not a small firm. We are over 2,000 in headcount, so we can serve you in various capacities, right? Not just from a tech and a solutions capability, but also from a managed services capability. So the best thing is please stop by our TSAM booth. We have several people there, and look forward to seeing you there.
Fantastic. We look forward to welcoming you at TSAM. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.